Echo, the brand new Marvel Spotlight show from the MCU, has now premiered in full, all 5 episodes released at the same time, and I've definitely seen some mixed reactions for this one so far. Personally, I'm pretty optimistic about this show actually, so let me break it down. What is up everyone, and welcome back to Jones Vibes. Hit the like button if you can hear my echo, and let's dive in. So, Echo, this is a show that I was definitely anticipating after I saw the first trailer. Like, before that trailer dropped, I wasn't completely over the moon about it. I enjoyed Maya when I was watching Hawkeye. I thought she was really cool, and I thought this was a pretty fun idea. I just didn't know if they could make it work. But then when I saw that it was TV-MA, and I saw that first trailer and how gritty and dark this show was gonna be, I actually started to get really excited. And now I've seen all 5 episodes. I've seen all 5 of them. And guys, how are we feeling about this? There's been a lot of positive energy out there that I've seen so far, but there's also been a lot of negative, and I mean, that kind of just comes with the territory with the MCU. As for me, I thought that this show was pretty kick-ass, to be honest. I want to get this out of the way early because it really is the only setback. Like, the only setback that I felt like this show had was the finale. The finale just kind of happened, and then you were like, it's done. Like, that was it. And I think it's pretty apparent that this show was cut up maybe a little bit, and maybe it's just missing an episode altogether. I'm not sure. Like, some of the things didn't quite get fleshed out enough, but I really don't want to be that creator on here that's coming here and being like, it was actually the pacing and the cinematography was this and this, and the writing was just messy and all over the place. Because I feel like we're seeing that more and more these days from people that just don't actually have that knowledge. They're just echoing what somebody else said. Like, it is pretty clear that the finale was rushed, but I really wasn't trying to view this show through the lens of a critic. I was trying to view this show through the lens of an MCU fan. But yeah, the truth of it is the finale was really quick, and I didn't like that. But what did I like, you ask? Pretty much everything else. I was hooked on this show from the jump. Really, the first episode takes off in that kind of recap through Hawkeye as well as just Maya's earlier life, and we get all that stuff, but then just that action sequence, man, and the sound cutting in and out to like her point of view when she has that guy in the stranglehold and you hear his heartbeat kind of getting faster and faster, and then she snaps his neck. Like, that was insane, and that is something that is so different than the MCU shows that we've been getting. And then out of nowhere, Daredevil pops in, and that just made everything for me. I could watch that entire sequence over and over and over again. My wife came home and I had to rewind it and be like, babe, watch this right now. Because the action was so well done. And once again, that's just something that I'm not accustomed to seeing from these MCU shows. It was brutal and vicious and bloody, and it held up to that TV-MA label that they gave it. I mean, obviously, I wasn't expecting the boys out of this show. I don't think anybody would really even want that in the MCU. I was just expecting it to go a little bit farther than these shows have in the past, and it certainly did that. And this show really expands on the relationship between Maya and Kingpin, and that's a very interesting direction to go in. I feel like early on, I was already kind of half seeing the criticism that came from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania with Kang, and people hate the fact that he was taken down by ants, and you know, fair enough, like, that's valid. But as far as Kingpin goes, yes, this and Hawkeye did show a very vulnerable side of Fisk, but this is the MCU, and although those Netflix shows are now canon, which is exciting, and I'm going to get to that, there's a lot of people out there that haven't seen those shows, and so they have to use Hawkeye as well as this to provide a little bit of background on Wilson Fisk and who this guy is, who is this Kingpin, and what makes him so strong. And I think the post-credit does a lot to kind of turn things around on that. But anyway, getting back to Maya, Alekwa Cox, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but Maya Lopez in this show, dude, she was incredible. She gave such a good performance, and it blows my mind that this is like her first acting job. That is an absolute trip, and I just thought, yes, like, the 5 episodes, they were quick, but it did a good enough job for me going back to her small town in Oklahoma and getting to know her family and highlighting that culture, something that the MCU has honestly done really well so far. It's one of my highlights from Shang-Chi, just like feeling like you're a part of something that you've never been a part of, or Miss Marvel. Also, just the entire ASL side side of things was really interesting. Apparently a lot of the cast and crew ended up learning sign language and surprising Alaqua Cox with that, and that's amazing to hear. We also got to see a deaf villain fight a blind superhero. I mean, how cool was that, guys? All of the characters were great. Biscuits, that guy was funny. Chula, like the grandma and the grandpa, they were great. The Henry guy was great. I think the one character that we needed to spend more time with was Bonnie. And, you know, back to that, maybe it was missing an episode thing or something. I don't know. But if there were to be a season 2, I have no idea if that would get greenlit. But I would like to see that relationship explored more, because there was just these moments between Maya and Bonnie that I think emotionally were supposed to hit us a little bit harder than they did. Like the stuff with Maya and her grandmother, that hit me really hard because there was enough setup there. But with Bonnie, it was just kind of like hit or miss. But when the show needed to be emotional, typically it was for me. Like I was saying, the scene with the grandmother and Maya sitting in the kitchen, I think it was the second to last episode, and she's talking about your ancestors echoing through time and all that stuff. There's a lot of really good moments in this show, and I hate to see it brought down by people that just didn't like the finale, and it's like, okay, well, this show sucked because I didn't like the end of it. Honestly, like, most of this show was really good. And cutting back to the action, like, all of the set pieces and sequences were everything that I want out of the MCU. Moving forward with Daredevil Born Again and getting into that, bringing in these Netflix kind of street-level heroes. Obviously, they've kind of made everybody canon now, and we don't know if we're going to see Luke Cage or Jessica Jones or Iron Fist. Like, I don't know if they're going to bring them in. I think everybody would want to see John Bernthal's Punisher. But to see that vibe, even just a little bit in the MCU, got me so freaking excited. Because, I don't know, like now that they're kind of reworking Daredevil Born Again, you're hiring a showrunner, you're bringing everything together, like that show could be a straight up masterpiece if this has any indication of that. But for me, I just felt like Echo worked well. Kingpin was a heavy villain, no pun, and I think that the journey that Maya went on was super cool to see. Whether those superpowers are even anything, like that whole kind of subplot just didn't really feel like much, but I did like the ancestry aspect to it, like this energy passed down through generations coming to Maya and it kind of opening up in that finale. It was cool, and I'm just happy that all of a sudden she didn't like start shooting lightning out of her hands or something like that, because I would have been like, okay, here we go. It was more of just like a, what's up, Kingpin? I can see into your childhood, and that's pretty messed up. So yeah, guys, I will be talking about Echo a lot more here on the channel, as well as just the MCU in general. You guys already know that if you're tuning into this channel regularly. But as always, with any show, at the end of it, I do like to give my Jones Vibes star rating, what I thought of the show based purely off of my personal enjoyment level. I'm not a critic by any means, and so what did I think of it? I'm giving Echo 4 out of 5 stars, no doubt. But I would really like to know what you guys thought about this show. Obviously, there's a lot of noise so far. There's a lot of people saying that it was amazing. There's a lot of people saying that they really hated it and the MCU is done. Like always, I'm more curious to hear your guys' thoughts and just get some good takes on this, because yes, it was 5 episodes and yes, it was quick, but there is a lot to kind of break down and decipher here. So please leave a comment down below, write a paragraph if you want. I will read it. Also, if you're craving more MCU content, you came to the right place. I have plenty more videos, so please click on one after this. If you're new here, hit subscribe, and also smash the like button for me if you could. I really appreciate that support. It means more than you know. If you want to start some dialogue, you can follow me on X at Jones Vibes Only, and don't forget to keep up the good vibes, guys. But Echo is finally here, and I kind of dug it.
Jones Vibes.